Okay, so this is just to give you an overview of what we're going to be covering in this session. So we're going to just give a quick look at the Certificate of Business Accounting itself, the 4 exams that comprise that Certificate of Business Accounting, and just some of the key points for you to consider when sitting those exams, and more importantly, when you're actually studying for them and preparing to sit for them. We're then going to move on to the free resources that are available to you. There are a vast range. Too many, in fact, to mention in one presentation. So I will be going over the ones that students have flagged as being the most useful to them. And once again, I think that's an important point to make. It's not the ones that we as CIMA staff feel are most important. They're ones that students have fed back that they found of particular use. We're then going to go into the student study support itself, the student study support section, which is the area that I look after, because we actually are the exam progression coaches that can give you free one-on-one support if you're either struggling with the syllabus or if there are any contentions there with that. We're there to guide you through the syllabus. Although we're not there to teach you the syllabus, we are there to give you that extra hand on the shoulder, that extra bit of help if you feel that you're stuck with something, or if there's any part of the criteria you don't understand or any resources you're not sure how to access. We're then going to move on to the paid study options, and also going to cover what those 3 are. So you've got the choice of going through a tuition provider, of utilising Seymour Study online, of our Sema textbooks, which are very helpful, and then of course there'll be chances for questions at the end. So this is our Certificate in Business Accounting. I'm sure you're very familiar with this graph, and I'm sure you're very familiar with these 4 units, but it's just to sort of give some key points about that. So the thing to bear in mind with the 4 certificate level examinations is all we ask is that you're at least 16 years of old, that you have a good grasp of English and basic mathematics. That's all that you need. You don't need any accounting experience. You don't need any economics experience. You will be taught everything from scratch. Okay. So the certificate level comprises 4 exams that cover economics, management accounting, financial accounting, and then governance, ethics, and law. So each exam is 2 hours long. You need to achieve a mark of 100 out of 150 on a scaled score in order to pass the exams. Each of these 4 exams comprises 60 questions, which you need to complete in a 2-hour period, with the exception of BA4. That's actually 85 questions within a 2-hour period. Although they're labelled BA 1, 2, 3, and 4, that is more for our internal purposes. From your perspective, they're all on the same level of difficulty. They're difficulty-wise, it equivalates to a level 4, which is basically the first year of a bachelor's degree. That's the easiest way to describe it to you in terms of difficulty. So you can do them in any order of your choosing. You don't need to do it BA 1, 2, 3, and then 4 respectively. You can do BA 3 first or BA 4 first. It's whatever's easiest and most apropos to you and to what your existing knowledge is, if any. This is interesting because the Certificate of Business Accounting, whilst it is the first level of the overall CIMA qualification, it is also an independent qualification that stands in its own merit. And once you've completed it, you will be awarded the Certificate of Business Accounting certificate at the end. That will actually be sent through to you by post, and you'll be able to use the designation CertBA after your name as well. So you will receive designatory letters, and you will receive an actual physical qualification through the post on account of passing the 4 exams on the certificate level. Okay. Now, in terms of the free resources that are available, there are a huge amount of them. You can find some of these if you go to our online study planner, which is on our main website and can be accessed at any time. You will find helpful articles that help you to gain insights about the assessments and how you can prepare for your exams. There are study and exam guides. These are self-study sessions for all the objective tests. There are articles and resources in relation to the case study exams, more of which you will come on to later on if you decide to go, because although there's no case study exam for the certificate level, if you do decide that you want to proceed to the next level after the certificate level, which is our operational level, that's when you will encounter your first case study exam. So there will be help for that there as well. There are free tutorials and helpful webinars. We run a variety of these throughout the year in conjunction with our study partners. And this enables you to garner expert advice from people who actually teach the qualification, as well as letting you hear some examples of students who've already successfully completed the different levels of the syllabus and achieved the prestigious CGMA/ACMA designations. Now, we also have a student Facebook group. There is only one official CIMA student group on Facebook. That is actually managed by CIMA staff. So the three admins on there all work directly for CIMA, and all of them work in my unit, the student support unit, which is based at the CIMA head office in London. And you will be able to interact with your peers, exchange ideas with them, garner help as you're progressing through the syllabus. And if you want to get a personalized study plan or get the support of one of the exam progression coaches, you can either drop a line in the main conversation flow, or alternatively, you're welcome to send a private message to any one of the three admins. Once again, I must reiterate, all three of whom are CIMA staff, and your query will be dealt with confidentially. In terms of the student support team itself, once again, this is just giving you some of the key points of what we can help you with. The reason I'm specifically highlighting this resource is because this team has been in place for 2 years now, and it really is a fantastic resource to have. Other accounting bodies actually charge students for the use of exam progression coaches. CIMA is the only one of the major accounting bodies that does not charge for the services of an exam progression coach. Our services are there for you, provided you're an active CIMA student, and we can have a telephone consultation with you, or we can exchange with you via email if that's more to your preference. The support is continuous. It's not simply a one email exercise. We provide you with clarification on exam feedback. We help you with study hints and tips and give you personalized guidance. So it's not a case of one size fits all. So if, for example, you're struggling with BA4, it could be that you have a colleague who's studying with BA2. The advice that we will give you will obviously be different to theirs, because everybody's different and everyone's exam journey is completely individual and unique to them. In terms of accessibility, we're easily accessible with our own dedicated telephone line and email box, and a helpful contact point for students who are taking exams for the first time or who are struggling to work their way through the exams in our syllabus. So that's just to give you a bit more help on that. You can see on here, there's a box on here that refers to blueprints. Well, blueprints are not published for the certificate level exams. The reason I have deliberately left that in there for this session is because, once again, by no means all, but the majority of CIMA students that complete the certificate level then decide to progress to the next three levels: the operational level, the management level, and the strategic level of our syllabus. And the most important exam resource for all of those exams, anything above the certificate level, is actually the exam blueprints, because they're the complete technical readout of each individual exam. And the exam progression coaches in the student support team can actually give you the support you need to understand the blueprint and give you the best chance of attempting the exam. So that's just to sort of put that in there as something for you to consider when it comes to next time round. We can give you a tremendous amount of free resources, articles, webinars, presentations, etc., graphs, even Excel sheets, that will actually help you. We can provide you with a tailored step-by-step individual study guide. You can get a generic one of the main study planner on our website, or you can get a much more tailored individual one from one of the exam progression coaches, and that is all free of charge. What's really important with every CIMA exam, regardless of whether it's the certificate level that you're doing or whether it's the final strategic level case study exam, the key thing to remember is you must focus on the theory, so the content, what it is that makes up that exam. There's no point just reading the book once and then doing 100 practice questions, because you won't pass the exam that way. Practice questions and mock tests, they're there to supplement your learning. They're not there to replace it. And they don't teach you the actual syllabus criteria. How that ties in with the slide that I have up in front of me here is because you can, in theory, pass all the exams from CIMA's certificate level with a thorough understanding of the syllabus itself, and you need to get that really highlighted. Although the syllabus brochure that details the topics of the certificate level is free for you to access on our website, you do need an additional resource to flesh it out. Now, you have a choice in this, and this is something that you will have to pay a fee for. So you can either study with a tuition provider, you can study online with Seymour Study, or you can study with an official textbook. So if we start with the tuition provider option, you may already have a tuition provider assigned to you, but it's just to sort of highlight it. So tuition providers who are members of the CIMA Registered Tuition Provider Scheme work with us, and they work with the students, to teach you the qualification. Now, you get a lot of support this way. You tend to get the support of a tutor. You tend to get the support of other peers, because it tends to be a classroom environment, though you can have an option of pre-recorded lectures instead. Sometimes it's studying in a classroom, or due to the advent of the Omicron variant of COVID, more and more classrooms are now becoming virtual again. So that's going forward, certainly for the time being, that's what it's likely to be. But you do get a lot of support that way. The only thing to consider with any kind of tuition provider option, whether it's with Kaplan, BPP, HTFT, or whichever one of our official providers, it is the most expensive way to study. There's no way of getting around that. It is much more expensive than self-study. You do get a lot of support, but you are paying for that privilege. So do consider that if you're self-funding. The next option for you to consider would be CIMA Study. Now, CIMA Study is CIMA's official online study method. It's run by CIMA and Kaplan jointly, and it's basically an interactive way for you to study. It's all done online. It's all done through a mixture of tests, games, webinars designed to teach you the content of the exam you're studying. It's not better or worse than the tuition provider option. It's just different, because everyone studies in a different way and retains information in a different way too. From a resource perspective, there will be a teacher that you can liaise with by email, or you can pay a premium for the Prime option, which gives you access to a teacher via telephone as well. So there's also a free demo, so you can try before you buy, and you can go for that option if you want to online. So that's www.cimastudy.com. So finally, there's the Sema Textbooks. Now, these books are clear, they're readable, and they're fully comprehensive. You can certainly pass the exam with this if you apply yourself. The textbook is exam focused, and it's written by expert tutors, and it includes practice questions at the end of each chapter, which are pertinent to those areas. Studying through a textbook is by far the cheapest way to study because it's only £37 for each book, and you just buy them online. Or depending on where you're based, you can buy them in some of the larger academic bookshops as well, regardless of where in the world you are. The only thing to consider is the textbooks are all published in the English language. So if English is not your first language, just consider that option, consider that factor. And the second thing, which is quite important as well with the textbook, is that they are very thick and they can be quite hard going. So although you could certainly pass the exam with it, it does require a lot of focus and a lot of self-dedication. It can be quite a lonely way to study, learning through the book. It's attractive and it's our most popular format because it's the cheapest. But that doesn't mean it's the best for you just because it's the most price friendly. So do just consider that. From our perspective, we don't endorse one particular study path over another. We are deliberately given the choice because every student's different and will have their own preference. Okay, so we've come to the end of the presentation there.